What's it?
The person that's going to do the intro, the last person.
Lord, yeah.
Yeah, so they're gonna introduce Lorianne.
Okay. You guys ready?
Yeah, if you could just stand on the sidewalk.
Hey, family. Welcome back. We're live again, John. All right. We're about to get started, and we're going to introduce Will. And so, hang on. Listen, right next to my face here, you see that QR code? Listen, as we said in our videos, no amount's too small. And no matter where you are, you don't even have to live in Montgomery County. You can still donate to the vision, and we'll make sure we put the vision out so everybody can see what's going on in Montgomery. D, you got anything you want to say to
This is a moment in time that you can take the opportunity to think back and know how you made a difference. So if it's within your heart, if you align with what Will is pitching, we ask for you guys to donate on our behalf for Will's campaign. We're here trying to affect positive change. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Ready? Well, good evening, everyone. My name is John Stevenson, and I am one of the hosts here for this beautiful event. I thank you all from the bottom of my heart, and on behalf of Denizio and Ms. Treva. Come on up, you guys. We thank y'all for being here. Give yourselves a hand, please. So we're going to move forward with what we're planning on doing this evening. We definitely want to make sure we hear from Will. And one of the things that, I'm not, you talk about politics, you don't talk about politics. People, people kind of shy away, especially now. But as things are transpiring in our nation, we need some strong leaders. We need some people that really care about people. Now, I'm a church boy. Can I get an amen? All right. So, yeah, come on. And I don't want to get the holiday preaching here, but we need that right now. And so I decided personally that just talking to Will personally, watching some of the things that I've seen him do, especially with the federal workers, he jumped right in to do something for the people. And that is saying a lot to me and to my family and to a lot of my friends. And so I decided I wanted to help out and make sure that we have somebody that has a voice for the people. And so it's easy to sit back and talk about what could happen, complain, but to put your hands to the plow and to make sure something's getting done and really to help, that is the thing that makes a difference. And so we're glad you're here. It's going to be, we've got a little journey here, but this is the beginning. And so we hope that you can get involved financially, but also come on out, help to some of these events. We are having several events within the next year, and we'll make sure those schedules are available to you, and you can sign up on his website. So I'm going to bring up now, man, Denizio, who will talk a little bit further. Come on, my man. Get on the mic and get, no, don't do that. That's not that kind of party? Yeah, okay. All right. Thank you.
I'm a transplant Marylander. I was born and raised in New York. I came from very, very, very humble beginnings. Just being around Will last several months and getting to know him on a more personal level, we have a lot in common. And so a lot of times my wife says jump and I just say how high.
That's how it's supposed to be.
I also take the time to look at things and figure things out for myself. I trust a lot of stuff that my wife says, but I think myself. So I wasn't jumping into this. I had to take time to figure this guy out, okay, and just kind of do my own research and learn more about him and see if this is someone who I really stand behind and want to support. And it turns out that I do. He doesn't walk the walk. He doesn't talk the talk. He walks. And we need leaders like that in a time where this country is in severe turmoil. I've been personally affected by the stuff that's happening. My household has. My wife is going through the same thing. And we need change. We need change. We need positivity. We need people who are going to combat this nonsense that's happening. And I think Will is that guy. So I'm excited. I'm hoping that you guys find it within your heart and believe in a lot of stuff that his initiative. We're here to raise money. I can't sugarcoat that. We need to raise funds to try to get this man in office. And after you hear him speak, if it resonates with you, we hope that you guys make a contribution. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to my beautiful, lovely wife, Trina.
All right.
But thank you everybody for coming out. I'm so happy that you
See, the brothers didn't get that.
so I'm just going to say a couple things about Will. Although he's been a force in Montgomery County for a while, I recently had the opportunity to start working with him through the Montgomery County Commission on Remembrance and Reconciliation. And so my first interaction with him, I knew he was something special. And so I came home and I talked to my husband, and he did jump when I said jump. And I said, let's check this guy out. So we researched him because of the accomplishments and things that he took care of in Montgomery County. And I was like, you know what, let's help support his campaign. Let's start volunteering and let's do what we can to help this campaign for county executive. And so we jumped in full fledged. And I'm loving it because I had 36 years of federal service and I could never vocalize who I wanted to support because of paycheck violation. And now I can say what I want because I'm retired. Yeah. But from a federal standpoint, I just want to say that I know there's federal workers in here because so many of my colleagues and friends and my family are federal employees, and a lot of them are being put in challenging situations right now. And I just wanted to say thank you, Will, because he did a lot of work to ensure priority placement for federal workers in Montgomery County jobs. And when you are facing the challenges that we have faced as federal employees, the negativity of this current administration, leaders like Will really provide hope for us that, everything's going to be okay. And so the other thing that I'll mention is that listening to some of his speeches, I found out that we do have a connection. We talked about the fact that he grew up a Quebec terrorist. And my mother and father's first apartment was at Quebec Terrace.
Wow.
So now, of course, they said it was a new up-and-coming community. So I think their parents were a little bit different than yours because it was brand new and sparkly. And so I understand I lived there until I was about 3 years old, I think. So yeah, we got a Quebec Terrace. It's a decade apart, but there's a Quebec Terrace connection there. But anyway, thank you guys again for coming out, and we're so happy that you support it. Please push to our leaders to make some donations and help this campaign out. And with that, I will turn it over to.
Yeah.
Thank you, Trina.
Thank you, Trina. Okay, so we're gonna bring Will up, but I do want to make sure we recognize someone else that's doing wonderful things in our local government. Lori Ann Sales, she's in the back. Come on and wave at us. She came to join us tonight. Thank you for being here. Without further ado, please welcome Mr. Will Jawando.
Lorianne, I'm gonna have Lorianne come first. So you have before you now 100% of the Black people on the Montgomery County Council. Councilmember Lorianne Sales, who used to be Gaithersburg City Council member, and is my sister and friend and confidant and cutting up buddy and a whole bunch of things on the council. And so we cannot be in Gaithersburg and in this room and not have her say anything. So I want to turn it over to you.
Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. The upcoming elections are going to be so important with everything that's happening in our country. We need to ensure that we elect good people at the local level. And I am so grateful that Ms. Joan has opened up her business to welcome you all here. If you go and support her business in Rockville as well, we have to support our local small businesses. Last month was Black Business Month, so it's not just during August that we support our Black businesses, but every day throughout the year as much as we can. And so I'm, grateful to have worked with Will over the last, few years. We don't serve on the same committees, but we've worked together in the Democratic space for a long time, and it's an exciting journey to take this leap of faith to you know, be an independent voice to lead our county into the future. And so I look forward to, you know, his vision, and looking forward to any questions that may follow. And, you know, we'll be here. We still have one more year to get through a very difficult financial season. And so we just appreciate your continued support and look forward to his remarks. Thank you.
Thank you, sis. And she's being kind. She's running for re-election to council member at large. So we're both at large council members. So I always like to do a little civics lesson. There are 11 council members, 7 districts. This is District 3, okay, Gaithersburg and Rockville, and currently represented by Sydney Katz, okay, who's retiring. And then there are 4 at-large council members who are elected countywide, and we are 2 of them. And so it's important that she gets back onto the council, because a county executive is only as strong as his teammates on the county council. And the way Montgomery County was founded, the council existed prior to the executive. And the charter of Montgomery County, we were founded the same year as independence, 1776. So we're heading into 250 years. The council has a lot of the power. They have the budgetary authority, they have the zoning and land use authority, and they pass the laws. Now the executive can veto, present the budget, and has a lot of authority, but you can't get anything done unless you have now 6 votes on the county council. So I need Lorianne Sales to come back to the county council. So please support her. The way the council seats work, the 4 at-large seats, is you get to vote for up to 4 people. Hopefully some of you have done that for me in the past. You can vote for up to 4 people. You don't have to vote for up to 4 people. And I always tell people, don't waste your vote. Know who those people are. If you like 4 people, vote for 4. But if you know you really like 2, vote for 2. And actually, one of the reasons we're going to win, and I'm going backwards, but I'm going to do my spiel at the beginning, but I think this is important, is I had the most bullet votes of anyone that ran for at-large council. What that means is that over 3,000 people came in and just voted for me for at-large council, right? And that was a good thing, because that helps me, right? Because say you vote for 3 people and you kind of like one, but you really like the other. Say the third person that you kind of like beat the person you really like by 1 vote. You gave them that vote. So you got to really think. A lot of people don't think about that. So I would just encourage you. Now, I'm not saying don't use all the votes, but just make sure if you do, you know who you're voting for. Don't just guess because you like the name. All the crazy things that I've done too back in the day. Oh, that sounds like a good name, or whatever. Make sure you know who you're voting for. All right, you got that? Now, my race, you can only vote for 1, so it's a lot easier, right? But I want to thank Lorianne. We are only the second. I was the second Black person elected countywide. She's the third. The first, you probably know, is Ike Leggett. Okay, he was elected in 1986. I was elected in 2018. So it took a while to get that happen. And then Lorianne was elected in 2022. And so we've got some work to do on that. And one of the things I'm concerned about is making sure that we build a bench of leaders who can come after and help keep progress going. Because we know we're all holding the baton, right? I'm looking at so many people in this work. I'm gonna retire one day. We're all gonna, and you got to pass it to somebody. And the damage that's being done right now by Trump is going to take generations to fix. And I often use the analogy of a glass. If we had real glasses here and I dropped it and it shattered, it's going to take about a second or less for that to happen. It's going to take me a lot longer to pick those pieces up. And I got to worry about getting cut. I got to worry about where does it go. Like it's complicated. It's not just time intensive, it's complicated. Now, the silver lining is the system we have and that we had prior to this dismantling that's going on didn't work great, right? We still had income inequality. We still had the average American couldn't access $400 in an emergency. The cost of living was still high. the rich were getting richer. The affordable housing wasn't available. So there's a lot of problems with the system we had. So now that we have to build a new one, let's build a stronger one, right? Let's build a stronger one. And in order to do that, we have to have the right people coming up. And so a little bit about me. I kind of went backwards because of Lorianne, but I'm an at-large council member. I'm in my 7th year on the council. I'm the vice president of the council this year. And that was a battle in and of itself. Lorianne will tell you about that. I'm the first Black person in leadership on the council, so either vice president or president, in over 13 years. So it doesn't happen a lot. But my story started in Quebec Terrace. That's where I was born and raised, Langley Park area, Long Branch area of Silver Spring. But before that, if you're wondering where Jawando comes from, my dad immigrated to this country in 1969 from Nigeria. And if anyone knows, in 1969, there was a lot going on in the world. Dr. King had just been shot and Bobby Kennedy the year before. And we had the Vietnam War going on at that time. There were 2 global wars going on, actually, that were televised. The first wars to be televised, Vietnam and the Biafran Civil War in Nigeria. Over 1 million people died, mostly of famine. We're dealing with the famine right now, forced starvation in Gaza. And my father left that country to get out and to go to school. And somehow, I don't know, but through the grace of God, he found his way to Hays, Kansas. Now, I'll give you $10 if you can tell me where Hays, Kansas is on a map. Near where? Near Dorothy. There you go. There you go. It actually is not far from where they, So if you know your geography, my daughter's taking geography right now. Kansas is in the middle. It's a rectangle right in the middle of the country. Okay. Hays is in the middle of Kansas, right? So it's 4 hours from everywhere. So you got to fly into Kansas City, which is on the southeast corner border of Missouri and Kansas, and then drive 4.5 hours in to Kansas. And it's an old Civil War town. Fort Hays State University was the university that gave my father a scholarship, which was where my mother was enrolled. My mother had grown up on a farm in this little town, and her grandfather, my great-grandfather, immigrated from present-day Czech Republic, current at that time in 1890 Austrian Empire, to Kansas, fleeing religious persecution. So when you think about my family, one side was white, one side was Black, but both immigrants. Both came to America because America said, come on in. And now one had a lot more opportunity than the other. My great-grandfather couldn't speak English, spoke German, came through the port of Baltimore, and within 1 year was given 100 acres through the Homestead Act to settle, right? Obviously, people were displaced, indigenous peoples, and a lot of violence in that settling. But that became our family farm. And he came to the port of Baltimore, went to Ohio for about 6 months, and then was given 100 acres, which became our family farm that my mom grew up on. 75 years later, America let my dad in to that same little town to have a scholarship. Now that's a unique story. Like, America is the only place that does that. Now, it wasn't easy. Dad dealt with a lot of discrimination. We were very low income in Quebec Terrace. We moved there because there was a lot of racism. You can imagine in 1970 how excited everyone in the middle of Kansas was to see a Nigerian guy getting together with a little 5'1" white woman. No one was excited about it, including my grandparents on my mother's side. And so they moved to Silver Spring because they heard this was a more welcoming place. And I grew up, and they divorced when I was 6. My mom remarried into a Black American family. So my stepfather, Joseph Jacob, is a 3rd generation Washingtonian. His mother immigrated from South Carolina or through the Great Migration and was a DC public school teacher. And so I feel very blessed that I've got to have experiences from a lot of different parts of not only Black culture, but American culture. And I tell you that whole story because I think right now we need people who understand the diversity of our community. We're literally having people, I was telling a story here where we're having to allow parents to stay in schools longer because ICE is in neighborhoods. You know, like we're having people just picked up. There was a guy here in Gaithersburg, an Iranian guy, who was picked up. He was walking his dog and lived with his mother. The ICE came back to the door with the dog. The mother thought he was hit by a car and had been killed. You know, imagine if you send someone out and they come back just with the dog. But he's right now in Texas because he had a marijuana thing 25 years ago. Been a great citizen, has businesses. That's happening right now. And I think we have to remember who America is at her best. It's a place that lets people in from all across the world. Now, obviously, in the case of, I know I'm in the room of like 8 or 9 generations of, some of us were brought here against our will. But we made this our home and we built this country literally. And so America at its best lets people in. And I think Montgomery County is a microcosm of that. It's a place that is, you know, you live in Gaithersburg. I don't tell you, I live in Montgomery Village. We are the most diverse, one of the most diverse counties in the United States. It's a great thing. It's a great thing. Now, a lot of challenges come with that. It's hard being diverse and making sure everyone gets access to schools and housing and jobs in an equitable way. But I want that challenge because I believe in a place that you can, no matter where you come from, what you look like, the language you speak, color your skin, that you can do well here. And that's Montgomery County. If we can't do it, no one can do it. Because we're 20% Black, 20% Latino, 15% Asian, 40% white, 5% mixed, other. This is the place. We're also one of the top 40 wealthiest counties in the country. We're in top 20 of people with PhDs and master's degrees. So we're highly educated. We've got a good tax base. We've got a great school system. In 2005, we were the #1 school system in the country. Now we're in the 70s. We're in the 70s, which is not bad. Rankings just came out of the best high schools in Maryland. The top 25 high schools in Maryland, Montgomery County has 8 of them. We're the best community college in the state, number 10 in the country out of 1,000 community colleges. So we've got a lot going on for us. Up here, we've got a lot of life sciences and biohub, and you know, we have companies that are curing diseases. We've got a lot going on. And so I think we are uniquely positioned over this next 10, 15 years to show America in the midst of this tyrannical dictator how you do it right. How do you have a place where everyone has opportunity, where every kid gets an education, where people can afford housing, where you can retire with dignity, where we can take care of our environment, where we can take care of victims of domestic violence or other. At my heart, I'm a civil rights lawyer. You know, my first job was at the NAACP, and the reason I did that is because when I was about 18 years old, one of my best friends was shot and killed in Briggs Chain. He was this kid that was smart as me, better athlete, better looking, you know, just popular, and he could not register with me how this guy was killed, and how his name was California, and how I was going to school on scholarship. I got scholarship for basketball at North Carolina Central University. There you go. And he taught me how to put that stuff together. I was an uncoordinated middle schooler when I met him. And so it made me start investigating life. And, you know, I started to think about what led to those different outcomes. Education was a big one, right? So I got the opportunity in high school to get a scholarship at St. John's College High School in D.C. After bouncing around different schools in my early years, being referred to special education, my mother said no and moved me and said he didn't need it. He didn't need the Ritalin, right? You know, they over, and that's still happening. Yeah. Over referral to special education. And thank God my mother fought to keep me off that medicine. These people still dealing with the side effects of that today. And so I had that advocacy, I had that scholarship, I had after school programs, but they weren't funded. It was my mom's job.
she worked at a newsletter publishing company in Silver Spring. And every day after school, I would go to her job and run around and meet all these interesting reporters and people and talk to them. And I was getting mentored and had a safe place to go. I talk about kids now being either decision kids or destination kids. Like, I was a destination kid. I had a place to go and to be by a certain time, where I was doing my homework and be surrounded by people. We know from research 3 to 7 most important hours for kids to be on track. Galfani was a decision kid. Some days he went with me, good decision. Some days he went with others that were doing things they shouldn't be. Why wasn't there an after-school program to pick him up? It's one of the reasons I created Summer Rise, which is our job shadowing program during the summer. I ran it. Over 10,000 students have gone through it now. During the summer, they get a paid internship. As chair of the education committee, I push hard for all of our kids to have after-school opportunities because of this. His mother, she worked 2 to 3 jobs beginning of the season. One of them was cleaning houses in Bethesda. She worked for Bruce Cheney. If you know our county, Bethesda's here. Bruce Cheney is here. Far east, far west. 2.5 hours on the bus, there and back. What if she could work one job and pay the living wage? Right? That's why I'm a proponent of raising the minimum wage and the living wage. What if she could have gotten on the purple line, which will be built by next year, that will make that same ride 35, 40 minutes. So what are all the things I just told you about? Education funding, after school program, transportation industry, jobs, wages, jobs. These are all things that are policies, right? Now, we all have personal choice. He made some bad decisions. But I often thought about, and this happened over time, in college, law school, that if he had a different set of opportunities that I had, he would still be here.
Yes.
And that it wasn't that he was worse than me or I was better than him. It was that the community didn't step up for him in the way he did. And you all know, everyone has a Galfani in their story. Someone who you know, if they had a little more help, they'd be here today or they'd be doing something better, or they wouldn't be incarcerated. And that has motivated me for the last 25 years. I'm literally that 18-year-old kid trying to make that outcome less likely. And it's sprouted to different areas, and I care about a whole bunch of things. But I wanted to tell you that story because I think it's important you know why people are doing what they're doing. Why do I want to be county executive? Because I don't want that to happen to our kids. I want all children to have opportunity. I want all seniors to live in safe, habitable housing. I want all working people to have jobs that pay them a living wage so they can afford health care and rent and a little fun on the side. And right now we're far from that. But I do think it's possible. And we've made strides in becoming county. And so this election right now is really important because this big ugly bill that they passed, and don't you dare call it the big beautiful bill. But it is going to make all this worse. It is the largest transfer of wealth from low-income people to high-income people that we've ever had. And the average millionaire, I know the average millionaire is in the money back, but the average millionaire is going to get a $70,000 federal tax as a result of that. And where does that come from? $70,000. That's at 7,000. It's coming from Medicaid. Our health director, we spoke a couple of weeks ago, Lorraine and I, they estimated 50,000 people could lose Medicaid in Montgomery County. 50,000 people. There's only 1.1 million people here. And these are the 50,000 of the lowest income children and families that could lose health insurance, which would be devastating. They're taking money from SNAP, literally taking food out of people's mouths. Yeah. They're taking money from Head Start, early childhood education, and giving it to rich people, right? And we're in this weird situation where Montgomery County has a lot of rich people. Mm-hmm. So what do we need to do? One of the decisions that Lori ever talked about that we're going to have to make next year is how do we plug the holes? Because all that bad stuff is going to kick in 27. And they designed it to kick in after the midterm elections. So they can have a chance to keep in the house. So we're going to be faced with that, and I think we have a responsibility to try to plug as many of those holes as possible. We have a primary care coalition in Montgomery County that gives insurance to people who can't qualify for it. I'm not going to be very proud of that program. But there's no way we're going to be able to absorb 50,000 people. But does that mean we shouldn't try to help anybody? Of course not. We need to triage. So we're going to need to ask our residents who are doing really well, that are going to get a $70,000 tax cut, to do a little more here in Montgomery County. I think that's the right thing. And that's a battle we're going to have over the next couple of years. We need to make housing work, right? And whether you ask a senior citizen who's trying to downsize, or stay in a home they've owned for 30 years before the property tax, or you ask a young family who's trying to move here, everyone in between, affordability of housing is the number one issue. We're trying to do a lot of different things. I was proud to pass rent stabilization in Montgomery County. We did that just 2 years ago. And right now, you can't raise rents higher than 3%, plus inflation cap of 6%. Still an increase. But it can't go up 10, 20, 30% a year. Nearly 40% of our county residents rent. 60% of black people. 60% of black people in Montgomery County are renters. So you understand that. And so when you allow rents, these are people's homes. You ask a teacher what's the number one issue they have to deal with, and it's hard to teach. There's a lot of them. But among top of that list is student mobility. Students coming in and out. And people move because they can't afford it. And so we have to stabilize people in their homes. So we've done that. We need to build more housing too, at different sizes and types, and ask our development community. And then the final thing that I think we need to do is we need to invest in small businesses. Like this one. Right? Right? Only two ways to raise revenue and do all the programs I want to do. If I want an after-school program for every child, it's going to cost money. If I want universal pre-K, which I do, for every 4-year-old, it's going to cost money. And the way you do that is you do it by having a fair tax system, which I talked about. We ask the wealthiest among us to contribute to the good of everybody, which is good for them too. Right? And then you grow your tax base, right? You expand your economic activity. And 85% of the businesses in Montgomery County are small, 15 or less people. And then there's a lot of medium sized, like you have more than 15 people. You're in the medium category. But that's what we want. We want people to go and have an easy time starting a business, know what the rules are. I was proud to work with Lorianne. We passed a bill last year to extend the minority and female and disabled procurement program here in the county. We do $1 billion of procurement a year. And we want to make sure that black, women-owned, minority-owned businesses get their fair share. Because that's how so many of our businesses get started, by getting a little small contract and getting their foot in the door. And so we extended that program 5 years. And they're cutting DEI in other places. We just extended that 5 years here.
All right, all right.
And we need to grow our tax base. And we've got some great companies here. I mentioned all the life sciences stuff that's going on here. There's a company in Silver Spring, United Therapeutics, that is just started clinical trials. If you lose your lung, God forbid, or an organ, they'll take your tissue from your organ and they will grow a new lung for you. That's your lung. So within the next 10 years, when I'm county executive, we're going to be the place that gets rid of transplant. Right? That's going to happen here. We've got another business that's really close to using gene therapy here. And it's up this way to cure AIDS. We're the third largest life science hub in the country, and I think we can move up to 2. One, we invest. Like I said, we've got a lot of smart people here. We've got a lot of diversity here. We've got a lot of assets here. But you need an executive that can tell the story, that can recruit other people to come here, and can make it more affordable to live here. And so those are kind of the 3 planks of my platform: invest in education,
and grow our business community, starting with the small business community. And I think if you do those 3 things, you're going to make this even a better place. And you're going to make it more livable. And there's a lot of other things I care about within those buckets, but those are the things I'm focused on. And so last thing I'll say is I need your support because this is not going to be easy. So if you like anything I say, like Treva and John, and I want to thank Treva and John and Denzi, thank you guys for hosting. There you are. Thank you for hosting. They have all contributed, so they've already done what I'm asking you to do. I'm using public financing, and as is Lorianne. And any contribution you give between $5 and $500 gets matched anywhere from 3 to 7 times. The lower amounts get matched higher. So $5 becomes $35. If you give 500, which is the maximum you can give me, it becomes $11.50. So you can be a max out donor for the low price of $500. You know, and it's a good thing because there's a lot of special interests. You know, I was proud to lead the police reform. I passed the first police reform bill ever in Montgomery County's history, saying you can't choke people, you can't shoot at moving vehicles. But I took a lot of heat for it, a lot of heat, and I'm still taking heat for it. And so there are going to be people who attack me, the developers. Again, we got to work with them just like anybody else, but they don't like that I did rent stabilization. So they're going to spend millions of dollars, and I'm not exaggerating. They're going to spend millions of dollars to make sure I don't get elected. They're going to try, and they're going to fail because you're going to help. And the way you counteract that, it was with a whole bunch of people and a whole bunch of organized. The only 2 things that have ever changed anything in the world, ever, organized people and organized money. And I need both, right? And so this room is a powerful room. You know, let's say there's 50 people in here. If you all tell 10 people, who's the math? I'm going to go to the principal. How many people have we touched? 50 times 10. Come on now. 5,000. Yes. All right. I put you on the spot. That wasn't fair. That wasn't fair. 50 times 10 is 5,000, right? I'm sorry. Did I say everyone tells 10 people? No, you're right.
Everyone tells 10 people.
Tells 10 people. Yeah, I was going to the next step. Yeah. You were right, Madam Principal. Yeah, that's why we need education. Exactly right. No, she's right. She's right. So you tell 10, they tell 10. Yeah, when you keep going. But no. Yeah, and so we'll get, let's say we start with that 500. That's a big group. And then they're going to tell some people. And that's how we're going to do this. Our goal is to do 100 of these. We're on our way. And we need about 70,000 votes to win. If I get 70,000 votes, I'm going to win with 50% of the vote, and I will win, hands down. Mark Elrich, who's the current county executive, who has endorsed me for this seat, along with Lorianne and my colleague, Kristen Mink, and Rockville City Council member Zola Shaw, and just yesterday, Progressive Maryland and the Working Families Party. We're on a good roll here. We will win if we get 70,000 votes, and that's our goal. I don't want to leave it to chance. Mark won with 40%, about 55,000 votes. I'm Black, so I need 70,000 votes. Okay, you know, everything's harder. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, but they don't recognize it. You know the 1 drop rule. And so please contribute if you haven't, and if you can't get to 500 today, that's fine. But just put it on a plan. We've got 10 months. You do 25 a month or 50 a month or whatever, and just try to get there, and then get other people to do it. I've already asked a couple people in here that have said they would host one of these. They don't have to be big like this. Some are in homes and living rooms where we have 20 people. Some are where we have 150, 200 people, but they all are important. So please consider donating, hosting one of these, and telling your friends through social media, through just conversation. Most people are going to show up. The primary election is June 23rd next year. So we are 9.5 months away. Most people are going to show up and not know who they're voting for, right? And our job is to minimize that and make sure they know that I'm running and a little bit about me and why they should support me. And I think we can. I know we can do it. We need to do it, and I need your help so I can help people of Montgomery County. Last thing I'll say: if you need help with anything, I've given a lot of you my card today. Lorianne and I are here to help you. We're here to help you. That's why we're here. We are here to make your life better and easier. And if anything, from the biggest line at my kickoff, Treva, was what? biggest applause line. Do you remember? No? Potholes. I said, I'm going to fix the potholes. Crowd went wild. I was just nothing's too small, and I'm focused on the little stuff. I'm focused on the big stuff. Because if you get the little stuff right, you can trust people with the big stuff. That's what I tell my kids: get the little things right, you can trust them with the bigger stuff. So I'm excited about the opportunity. Montgomery County is a place that welcomed my family. It's the reason you're here. Let's make it a place for generations to come that everyone can continue to come and do well. And I hope you'll help me do that. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. We're gonna be here, still more opportunity to talk and get in Will's ear and let him give you some more about his initiatives. We're excited to be here. If you guys have it in your heart to donate, we're trying to raise money, as much money as we can. Like he said, he's repeated it. Everyone in this room, my colleagues, my friends, we're going to repeat it. We need to raise money. We need to affect change. We need to get this jerk out of office. And it starts down here. So
nothing will piss Donald Trump off more than you elect Will Jawando, county executive, right in his backyard. I'll tell you that.
Here you have it. So
do it for that.
And as he said, we're looking for more opportunities to host more events. So if you're up to it, please. We are our greatest resource. I've always said that. Think about it. Everyone here is close, and I say close to at least 50 to 100 people, right? So just imagine that. Extend that. It's a branch. It's a street. Feed and talk to your people, to your family. Let's get involved. We can affect change. Thank you, Will.
And I'm happy to take a couple questions if you have them, but I want to make sure I know some of you already got this. These are nice magnets. They won't mess up your fancy car. So you can put them on your back and people can see. And then we also have stickers and stuff and signs and yard signs and stuff too. So. Any questions? No. All right, we'll just talk as a group. Thank you all. Thank you all.
All right.